Again, it's me, Professor Alan Barrell, talking to you from Cambridge. And remember, I'm taking you with me on my life's journey. And we've already looked at two phases in my life's journey, taking up quite a large number of years. And we're now going to look at a new call to adventure that I had and conversion to an entrepreneurial life and academic engagement. And this concluding part of my story, you will hear about continued industrial experience, but also work beginning in academia and a focus on entrepreneurship and new business engagement. So think back to last time when I told you about my 20 years at Baxter. Got the call to adventure to change industries and to focus on an international business that was developing very fast and had been a startup not long before. And the business of this company was coding and labeling, making equipment and consumables that would print variable information on a whole variety of products, essentially computers that print on production lines, that print the kind of information you will read on the bottom of a Coke can or a beer can or any food product that has to bear information on when the product was made, what the expiry date is, and if there are any other special pieces of information that you need to know about. And Willett International, in the early days when I joined it, had joined the market very late. It didn't have any protectable intellectual property. It had no technology advantage. It had only the worst product, and it was always strapped for cash. It was a private company, but always independent. It was highly entrepreneurial and reinvested all its products. It had a marketing strategy that I helped develop with the chairman to overcome the shortcomings that I've just mentioned. We had to position ourselves and differentiate ourselves and brand ourselves. And we, with a degree of arrogance, said, we are going to be the world's coding company. We will have outstanding people. We will not be just another inkjet company. We will have a broader product range. We will have outstanding marketing. And we will have the best technical service and support. And we will have a big focus on training staff and distributors. And I was able to apply a lot of the knowledge and experience I gained with Baxter. Even though it was a different product, it was still a technology product, and it was still an international company. And there's a map showing you that after a number of years with Willett, what we had achieved. You see, we've become truly international. 14 at least subsidiaries and 80 distributor partners operating in 100 countries over 6 years. And look at all the countries that we had that by that time entered. I, of course, was tired out racing around the world. I didn't spend much time at home during my 6 or 7 years with the Willett Company, but it was extraordinarily exciting. And one of the most exciting things was when we entered the Chinese market. And just a few facts about how we did it. In 1994, we did a lot of research. We did a joint venture with a local company, but we owned 93% of the equity, and I was the chairman of the board. And we selected as our base for this company the developing town of Zhuhai in Guangdong province in the south. It's actually the province on the map there. It was very small then, but it became very big. We put UK managers in to begin with, but a Chinese team and workforce were recruited, and we replaced the UK management with Chinese after a year. And this company became our Asian manufacturing base and hub for regional service center and training. And we employed salesmen all over China. And that company succeeded rapidly, and it became the biggest sales company. We learned some lessons which are very interesting for you as business students about how we succeeded in China. And I have a few of them here. First of all, research and preparation paid off. The Chinese management and open-mindedness of the UK leadership enabled us to create not just a subsidiary, but a Chinese Willet company run by Chinese people. Our local to the partner very carefully, and we had Chinese management who had a very close rapport with the local government and the Communist Party of China. We had to have patience in learning, in developing, and trust was needed. And of course, we invested a lot of money, and it took time. There are no shortcuts to success. Now, working with Willet and then thinking back on my career with Baxter, I thought it would be interesting to show you what I felt at that time when I was at the end of my period with Willet were the most important things to consider if you were seeking to assess what is it that makes a larger or growing company successful. And for me, it starts with vision and purpose and inspired leadership. And then all of those other things are elements in success. Rewards for people, clear direction, good management, technology, knowledge, common culture, things that need to be created over time. And that meant that I became more and more interested in human resource management as I worked with Willet. And working in Willet with China, the Chinese connections changed my life. Shanghai, this wonderful city that's Pudong, became my second home. And I learned a lot of lessons about customs, culture, politics, diplomacy, and their importance in international business. I learned about building alliances and relationships and how that takes a lot of time to reach coherence and collaboration. And I became very passionate about doing everything I could do to build bridges between China and the UK and connect the countries and the trading partners for the good of all. And the Willet period introduced me to Chinese networks and universities. And that was another call to adventure and started the opportunity for me to engage in teaching and research. And I'm showing you a picture here of the first university that offered me a professorial teaching appointment. This is the University of Xiamen in Fujian province, and it is an amazing campus. And I spent some time there actually teaching the MBA program for a few years ago. And all of that has led me now to a position where I'm so happy to welcome Chinese students in Cambridge. And there's a group here of high school students at Gonville and Keith's College. And quite often, whole families come. You can see here fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, children at one of our events for Chinese visitors in Cambridge. I was honored with a doctoral degree that was from Anglia Ruskin University, and I now work with universities in the UK, including Portsmouth, and all over the world. And you know, later life, as well as teaching, stimulated me to help turn research into products and business. We thought about this picture before, and for me, it became something very important in my life, and I learned that it demands a holistic approach. And when I started to work on product development more recently in my life, I started to see how, and this will be interesting for you, to develop from an idea to a product, there are a number of phases, and we're showing them here. Start with an idea, develop a concept, then you've got to plan, then you've got to plan more, then you've got to test and build a model. Innovation combined with entrepreneurship actually is not an easy thing to do, but it really does lead to great results and fulfillment. And I've now participated in 20 startups, and some of them failed. But let's not forget that failure isn't really failure. It's part of positive learning how to do better. So you remember from last time, entrepreneurship, what is it? George Bernard Shaw said, Entrepreneurs look at things and ask why, or do they? No, he said they don't. He said normal people look at things and ask why, but entrepreneurs dream of things that never were and ask why not. And I say entrepreneurs change the world. Because an idea is not an invention is not a product is not a company, and from idea to product in the market is a very, very difficult and sometimes long journey. And I began then to get involved in finance, and these are the ways in which, when I started thinking about finance, you had to go and look for money. Your own money was good for a while, but then you needed business angels and venture capitalists, and you needed research money, maybe from grants. But entrepreneurial thinking in our lifetime has changed the world of business finance, because we can now look at a different approach to business finance. We can look at alternative finance and online finance, because the impact of the internet and social networks have actually enabled crowdfunding on the internet. Go to the internet, make your proposal on the internet, get money from people who will invest in you. And I've seen all of this happen in the last few years, and I've been very pleased to become part of it as I've moved towards the present position of my career. As I say here, we wrote a book to help entrepreneurs with fundraising. I've sent some to your university. Some of you may have a chance to see it. I think there are going to be some placed in the library. And we have a Mandarin language version as well, which is selling well in China. And just finally, I have had some moments of pride and fulfillment in my life. I was honored by the Queen in the ceremony you see here, where she's giving me the Enterprise Promotion Award for the UK. And there in the other picture, I'm with the President of Finland getting the award of the Knight First Class of the Order of the White Rose of Finland for my services to education there. And I have the blessings of a wonderful family, because work-life balance is important. This was another award I received from a wonderful entrepreneur, the founder of Cobra Beer, Lord Karen Billy Moria. A few years ago, he gave me this for my work with the Judge Business School. And I mentioned my family. This picture is 8 years old, but they're all here, all 4 children and 8 grandchildren. Everyone's bigger now, and some of us are much older. But I have been very fortunate in having a family that have helped me have a balanced life. And my final messages for you, pointers for the future from what I have learned: think global, be a citizen of the world, consider the benefits of a world without borders, imagination is more important than knowledge. Don't forget that people are the greatest resource available to us all. Trust between people makes a huge difference. And lifelong learning is open to all. Entrepreneurs change the world. And my final questions for you, when you consider your life's journey: what are you passionate about? How will you invest your life? What is or maybe your call to adventure? Do you want an ordinary life or something special? What might people write about you, or would you care? How do you measure happiness and fulfillment? And I think if you consider my story, you will understand why I showed you at the beginning the words of Joseph Campbell, who said, "We may have to give up the life we have planned to find and take up the life that is waiting for us." So I thank you for listening to all of this. It's been a great pleasure to be with you, and I wish you wonderful life's journey, each and every one of you. Goodbye for now.